Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar. My name is Maria and I will be the host of this event. Today's topic is the benefits of an all-in-one accounting and property management system. The webinar will be recorded and you can use the question panel to submit any questions that you have, and we will be leaving some time in the end to answer those questions. Now I would like to introduce the speakers. Our partner in Canada, Corporate Renaissance Group, join us today. Hello, Loni.
Hello, everybody.
And software representatives are Laura and Donatas. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
So let's go ahead and talk about today's agenda. Loni will tell you more about the value of Microsoft Dynamics Business Central Cloud and how to be one step ahead and stay current on the latest technology. And software team will present and show you the benefits of an all-in-one accounting and property management system. So I believe it's time for Loni's part. I'll give you the screen, Loni.
Okay, wonderful. All right, well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today to talk a little bit about the all-in-one accounting solution that would be available through Business Central and the property management piece. Today's presentation, as Maria mentioned, will be recorded, and you can submit questions through the GoToWebinar panel if you have questions as we work through our presentation today. Odds are we're going to go through a brief demonstration of Business Central as we get through some slides here, and I'll show you a little bit about what it has to offer. So some of the benefits of moving to the cloud is really staying current in the latest technology. What this allows you to do is, Microsoft releases quick updates on Business Central on regular intervals, whether it's fixes on a monthly basis or major updates every 6 months. To sort of keep the software current, they have a very aggressive roadmap in terms of development of this product. So you're going to see advances in this technology more often and new features and functionality added regularly. The other benefits of moving to the cloud is to reduce some costs and free up resources. So this is really around your IT infrastructure. A lot of companies are still dealing with on-premise solutions where they're, dealing with servers on site, IT teams to manage those servers and virtual servers and all those different types of things, as well as SQL license costs, etc. So this really does free up a lot of those IT resources and on-premise resources and moves us out of that realm and into a cloud-based solution, which sort of allows you to redirect those resources in other areas. And we can also improve security and privacy around the product. So as we know, Microsoft is a world-class solution provider and has excellent security and privacy rules around it, but also creates some reliability. I mean, as you get aging hardware, you could find server crashes or delays in speed. So this really helps keep the product reliable and accountable and works you through everything you need to do on a day-to-day without any real hiccups or issues. So that's some of the values of the cloud. Now, in terms of Business Central, there are some great benefits with this product and this ERP system as it stands. So one thing is its modern architecture. This is a really modern looking solution. It is really up to speed in terms of current look and value, and it's completely mobile. So when we talk about, businesses are constantly on the go, it's constantly moving, constantly evolving. The fact that you can take Business Central with you wherever you go on a mobile or tablet really gives people the opportunities to expand their reach. Obviously, as we've talked about, SaaS or on-premise options. So obviously moving to the cloud has its great benefits. However, there are still some companies who are leery of having their financial data in the cloud for whatever reasons that may be. So on-premise options are still available with Business Central, and you can still install on your own servers in-house. It has incredible reporting capabilities. So mainly around the Power BI component. And this really helps elevate a company's ability to provide its users, its high level management users, some real KPIs, metrics, and graphics to allow them to really understand where the business is. And Business Central has something called data feeds, which we'll talk about, that really can feed into Power BI in a really simple manner. It has lots of automation, and one of those automations includes things like workflow tools. So being able to automate the approval process of whether that be purchase orders or purchase invoices or timesheets or sales invoices, all of those types of approvals exist within Business Central and can be automated based on a flow or rules that are specific to your organization. We have seen that it has pretty quick user adoption in terms of being able to navigate the system easily due to some of the great tools that they have available. And one of the amazing things, which you'll see in today's presentation, is Business Central has some amazing extensions. And what those are providers that are expanding or adding to the functionality that Business Central already has, but giving another layer of capability for specific industry standards or specific industry needs, or just specific functionality that you want to be able to do and automate within the system. So there are great providers out there that can do that, such as Software Real Estate being one of those extensions. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central has many core capabilities, and as you can see here, it goes all the way from your core financial management right into your reporting and analytics. So lots of capability there. It has very deep supply chain management and inventory and purchasing control. It even goes as deep into some warehouse management. So if you're deep into warehouse management or manufacturing capabilities, that capacity is there as well. It has a service management component, which gets you into sort of field service, work orders, and things of that nature. So lots of functionality that's deep in the system, gives you a lot of core pieces that you may need. These are not necessarily industry-specific functionality. While there is some, this is more on a broad base. So it can really fit for most organizations, but then you may need something like a property management software on top of that, that's going to give you that extra piece of capability for your specific company or industry type. So this is sort of my top 10 list of the things that we have found are one of the best or favorites of Business Central. Number one is definitely the modern user interface. Its usability is really great. It's easy to navigate. It's easy to really customize and make your own in terms of shortcuts and then speed. I mean, it really is very fast product. It's world class. You're not having, when you're cloud-based, it's not having to communicate through VPNs and all that stuff that can cause a lot of noise. So it really is a great user product in terms of interface and speed. The extensive use of list views. So you're going to see this in the demo today, is that the system has this great capability to use lists of master data and create filters and searches and all that great stuff that makes it easy to sort of build your own lists and reports as needed. There is an integration to Outlook. So, nobody integrates with Microsoft better than Microsoft. So they have created an integration that can allow you to actually create sales orders and sales invoices right from Outlook based on an email that comes from a contact that may exist in Business Central already. So again, just ease of use, less clicking, more efficient. The mobile app. This is probably one of the greatest things I find about this product is the mobile app. When you have Business Central licenses, you can download the mobile app to a tablet or phone and have Business Central on the go. The quick search. In a lot of ERPs, when you're looking for different functions in the system, they can be hard to navigate and find. And one of the great things about this tool is this quick search allows you to find anything you're looking for really within a few keystrokes, which is amazing. The flexible chart of account structure is another, because what this system does is it builds your chart of accounts on a single segment and then builds in complementary dimensions, which allows you to create sort of multi-dimensional analysis on your financial statements based on those dimensions. So it's very flexible, but it also allows for some really cool other features that allow you to access financial data at the chart of accounts level very easily. It has some great web services available within it. Things like foreign exchange rates can be fed in from specific sites directly into Business Central, so that your foreign exchange rates are always up to date. And it can also feed in things like bank statement imports, so that you can do automatic bank reconciliation functions, which can be really handy if you're a high volume business that has a lot of high volume cash transactions coming in and out of your bank accounts. I mentioned earlier the OData feeds. So OData feeds are basically feeds from all the tables that exist within the system and allow you to actually drop those OData feeds into an Excel-based platform to then create pivot tables and reports on any of that content. And those OData feeds can actually be fed into Power BI. And then you can use those fields and those tables to actually create some amazing graphics and KPIs for your management team to be able to view at a high level. There is an out-of-the-box integration between Dynamics 365 for Sales, what was once known as CRM, and Business Central. So you can actually be feeding contacts back and forth between Business Central and CRM. When an opportunity becomes a customer, it can then create that customer in Business Central. So some really good, easy, simple integrations that are built in out of the box that allow you to, again, just minimize keystrokes and minimize duplicate entry from one system to another. And finally, one of the best ones, as I mentioned earlier, is the app source for extensions. So, if there's a functionality that does not exist in Business Central, that does not mean it's not easily found. And within app source in Business Central, you can find various different types of third-party extensions that will really allow you to stretch and expand Business Central's capabilities. Really, there's no limit to what you could do there. There are so many great apps out there that can provide you with services and extensions to the product. So with that said, why don't we hop into Business Central and we'll take a look. So I'm just going to pop into Business Central here. And in Business Central, this is our home page. So what you're looking at here is basically a home page that is designed based on a role center. And role centers ultimately define sort of some of these pieces or shortcuts that you see at the top, some of these actions that are in here. But role centers are actually very easily changed. And by changing a role center, you can actually change what the home page may look like to you in terms of actions and specific shortcuts. And this is just to sort of help minimize keystrokes in terms of looking for specific fields or pages that you may want to use on a regular basis. But you can still customize a lot of these particular shortcuts yourself in terms of things you may want on your homepage that you're using regularly. But you'll see in here, the system creates some great little headlines for you, kind of shows you where you're at in terms of specific actions or things happening within the organization. And as we scroll down, you're going to get into some more financial metrics that are in the system. So, the system's giving you an indication of what type of sales we've had this month, where we have an overdue invoices, overdue purchase invoices that need to be paid. And what's nice about all of this information is that all of this information is being driven by list views within the system. So if I wanted to actually see what these overdue sales invoices are, I can simply click on that and the system's going to pop open with a list view that's going to show me all of the invoices making up that $1.9 million that are overdue. And those list views actually give you some additional capabilities to be able to filter, sort, and search. So right now I'm looking at a view of all the clients that make up that 1.9 million, but I've also created, you know, a filter of my USD invoices, so I can click on that and take a look at any invoices that are specific to US dollars. So giving you the capability to build different reports with different filters within it, so that you can sort of slice and dice the data in whatever facet suits your needs. Then we get into some of these tiles down here, and many of these tiles are just giving you some information about what's sitting in the system waiting, what are things that are pending or outstanding. And as we scroll even further down, you get into things like this in terms of approvals. So, you know, if you're an approval person in the organization that is responsible for approving invoices or purchase orders, you know, you would have items sitting in this request to approve. And the beauty of that is when you log into Business Central, you can simply click on that box and take a look at the list of requests to approve that you may have. And this could be, you know, timesheets, could be invoices, whatever your organization has set up as part of an approval process. So lots of capability there, lots of easy touches without having to navigate too far within the system. Everything's very quick and easy. And as we scroll down into the bottom, you'll see, you know, we've got some business insights. There's some graphs in here, some favorite accounts that we've created, and even a sort of slimmed down trial balance that we can look at. So your homepage really is a hub for information, and based on your role center, it may change what you see in here, but really easy to click through things and see what you need to get at when you need it. In addition to that, you know, we've got this quick search that I made reference to in the slides. And this is where if there's something here that I don't see that I need to see, I can quickly search for it here. So if I'm looking for a different type of report, or I'm looking for general journals, I can just start to type it, and it's going to show me in different sections, depending on what I'm looking for, what things match my search criteria. And it shows me my top 3, but you can see I can expand this, and I can see all sorts of options that are available within. So this quick search is amazing because you can find anything you need really quickly in the system without having to really click through things and look specifically in certain areas. The other thing that's really amazing about this product is the capability it has to be able to personalize screens and functions in terms of your views. So now in here, I'm showing certain pieces of information that may be pertinent to me, but as a user, I also have the capability to sort of add some personalization to this. And this is something that a lot of softwares do not give you the option to do. But you can see in here that I can actually modify some of the fields that I see in here, or remove some of the fields that I see in here if they're not pertinent to what I want. So there's a lot of fields in here. Some of these I don't need, so I could potentially hide these if I want to hide them, and actually clear out some space in here to make this more functional for me as a user. So this is an amazing feature that I think Microsoft has done really, really well. In addition to that, the system has also created a mobile app. And the mobile app is really phenomenal. I have to say they've done the mobile app in a very well managed way, in that you can do everything in the mobile app that you can do in the product. Everything that you see in the product, you see in the mobile app. So it really is amazing that they have been able to create this tool in that fashion. I'm amazed at what they've done there. It is really, really spectacular. So with that said, I think that sort of rounds out a little bit of the content I wanted to cover today, and just give you a poke around. You'll see, you know, there's lots of different functionality within the system in terms of things you can do here, and some of its great many benefits. I think that if you're looking for a full-scale demo on Business Central, that our team would be happy to provide something like that. I think that it would be hugely beneficial to a lot of companies who are looking to sort of automate some of their exercises and processes, and give you a modern look and feel in terms of your ERP system moving forward. So with that, I think I'm going to hand it back to Maria or Laura to continue their presentation.
Thank you, Lonnie. So let me just share my screen. Okay, so once again, thank you, Lonnie, for the presentation. And getting further, so now more than ever we face customers wishing to have everything in one system, as people start tracking more KPIs like time spent on some operations, time needed for training, human errors, etc. So what's in it for you of using all-in-one solution? So Lonnie introduced one part of the all-in-one system, and the other essential part for property managers, of course, is to be able to do specific property management operations. So let's get to it. Let's start from the beginning, talking about who would benefit the most of the solution. So solution was built for commercial property management companies like office buildings managers, shopping center managers. In general, it can address many of commercial property management needs for other property types too. It was built based on the property management companies' requirements, so property management companies can enjoy tracking and managing lease information effectively, speeding up new contract preparation and management, improving customer service with the self-service tenant portal, and building flexible pricing, also distributing common area maintenance fees, which seems to be very troubled area for many property management companies. Also managing work orders and maintenance tasks, and enjoying fast time reporting and statistics. Just a second, so that you can see everything. They can enjoy the reporting with the integrated Power BI tool. Lonnie mentioned a bit about it, but the thing is that you can monitor most common KPIs of your business, and those reports, additionally to the general Power BI reports, there are many property management related reports. Choosing already built solution instead of developing additional functionalities to your ERP, first of all, saves a lot of time and money instead of paying for time-consuming customizations. It is already tested and used by other property management companies. Also, it is constantly being developed, and when it comes to upgrades, it is less complex and costly. We face many customers using some ERP with many customizations developed to address property management needs some time ago, and they come looking for a new solution even though they are used to their old system, because it takes a lot of time and money to upgrade their current solution. So using Business Central for accounting and other main operations of your business and software real estate add-on for property management, you would have one single unified system and all operations would be connected with each other. You do not need to think about any additional integrations, as they are working together. As Lonnie mentioned, since software real estate sits on top as an extension on Business Central, and the access is the same, the interface is the same, and all of your data is in the same place. Why it is worth to choose all-in-one solution? In this case, firstly, is worldwide known and used Microsoft platform, which is proven to be very secure. Also, data is consistent and you don't need to enter the same data in a few different systems. In this way, also minimizing the human error. For example, one of our customers, before coming to us, they used 6 different systems for managing their operations. So you can only imagine how time consuming it is. You need to support only one system and also to train people to use only one system. And especially these times when most of us are working from home, it is important that you could easily access all your business information from any device, and in this case all of your information would be in the same place, and you need to access only one system. And have you ever thought about how much time it takes for you to analyze your data or do billing, fix human errors, how much time and money you spend on different systems, trainings, and support? So for real estate solution users did, and choose it so they would be able to enjoy the latest technology. Lonnie mentioned many things about it, so I will continue further. They can ensure business continuity and also analyze the data easier and make better decisions because of it. Also, with the processes automation, they can increase work performance. And it is very important for your business to set KPIs to track your business efficiency and also your software system performance. One of our customers estimated that using software real estate, they save about 3.5 weeks per year for invoicing and saves about $23,000 per year on costs. That sounds efficient, isn't it? And probably one of the most important questions for property management companies is who are those others who are benefiting from the solution we are talking about today. So companies from all around the world is using the solution, starting with North America, also Europe, Australia, Asia, and Africa. We have customers who manages their properties in one country. Also, we have customers who also works and have locations in more than one country. So you already saw the accounting and the financial part, and even though we show it separately, it is important to mention that anyway it would be one system for you to log in and operate your business. So now my colleague Donatas will show software real estate in action. And Donatas, the screen is yours.
Hello. So I hope you can see my screen now. And as Laura mentioned, I will quickly demonstrate the software real estate extension on the Business Central. So as Lonnie already mentioned, you can have different home pages for different roles of your company employees. So for example, that accountant or financial dashboards can look like this, so similar to what you have already seen. And we have built another one for property managers. So you can see totally different actions that are more related to managing your leases, tenants, and you can access all relevant data directly from this home page. So here we can see all the related lists and master data grouped to properties, lease contracts, journals, posted documents, and so also we have those tiles with numbers of, for example, contracts, lease units, sales invoices that are not yet posted. Also, we can see some analytics here, like lease unit availability, so how it's changing during time. You can see expiring lease contract lists. You can connect your Power BI reports, or you can upload a floor map of your property or other area, and then you can see by different color which premises are vacant and which are rented as of today. So first, I will show you the lease units. So these are the properties that are divided into floors and particular units. So you can have that information in Business Central. So property data, you can see general information about the building. So you can put some contact details, address, and say total building area, which is split into leasable, common, and then based on lease contracts, you can have vacant and rented areas. Also, there are some other configurations for cost dividing among the tenants, and all the related information to the property is linked to this card. Then property can be split into separate lease units that would be leased in lease agreements for the tenants. So here you can have expandable list, so you can quickly access the data you need. And as already mentioned, you can filter those lists by any field. You can save those views so that you can quickly get the overview of needed information by specified parameters. Then we have lease contracts. So here is the details about the agreements that you make with the tenants. So if we take a look, you can see you can build different contract views. So you can see expiring contracts, so the ones that are expiring soon or expiration date already expired, or you can see only released contracts or the ones that are still in discussion with the client. So if we would take a look at the contract card, here we can see general information about the lease agreement. So we have contract dates, starting, ending date. You can define some parameters for termination options. Then we have the customer, which is the tenant in our case, and there are some other details on the contract card. You can specify invoice delivery method. So if it's email, so you can email all the invoices that you would create at once for all of the clients. Also, there are some more details which you can adjust by specifying the importance of those fields. So if some areas that are currently in the system won't be used by you, you can hide them. But if you would like to have those, like deposit amounts or penalty information, so you can add those to the contract card. So all of those changes are customizable, and for example, each user can customize, personalize the view that they can see. Then on the contract lines, we have the services that are provided for the client, and that would be included in monthly or any other period billing. So you can define different services. Service list can be configured by your needs. So you would probably have rent as a main service or charge. And then you can define others, such as common area maintenance, cleaning, security, and so on. If you would bill the clients also for direct utility usage, such as electricity or water, there is a possibility to define meters, assign them to the lease units, and then upload meter readings and capture that data in the system so that invoices can be generated for the tenants based on the consumption of those utilities. Also, you can define turnover rent by specifying turnover percentage, or you can combine. You can have minimum rent and then you can compare it to turnover. So if percentage of turnover is higher for the past period, so then you can issue additional invoice for that. As mentioned, there are different pricing options that you can define on lease contract. So prices can be based on unit area. You can set up fixed prices. And for those variables like direct utilities, you can set up prices based on meter readings. Or for retailers, you can define prices based on turnover. Also, prices can be set for different periods. and you can add other options here in advanced pricing window. So if you already define that price would increase, so you can define step pricing, because each price has its own effective and expiration dates. Prices can also be indexed, so if you would specify that price should be indexed by consumer price index, so you can set that, and all prices can be updated at once by the change of the index value. Then there are more information on the contract, like break clauses, renewal options. You can have contract diary with some crucial dates that needs to be tracked, so that you can pull out some reports, or you can include that in the OData feeds that Lonnie has mentioned, and you can build your own reports in Power BI or Excel pivot tables. Also, there is a section for documents, so you can upload any kind of files and attach to the contract, or you can prepare some contract templates that you can use for printing out and preparing the contracts in your own templates. So in my case, I have commercial contract template, so I will choose this one, and then I will just open the document. So system generates the document in my template and fills in data from the system, like tenant name, my company name, the property address, contract dates. You can add contract prices and any other data from the system. So this is the key document in property management solution. So we have the details of all the lease contracts that we have with the tenants. And the main function is creation of sales invoices. So for different charges, you can create different invoices, and in most cases, rent invoices are created in advance in every month, in the beginning of the month usually. So for that process, we would use Service Journal, and here we have automated functions. So the first step would be calculation of all the charges. So what you need to do is just specify the period for which you would run the calculations. So in my case, I would run it for April. So I would specify start date, end date of the period, and also you can filter. You can run calculations only one building for some specific customers, specific services. So you can add any actually field for filtering before calculations. So I will run it for all of my contracts. Okay, I will do it again. So system goes through all the active agreements, and I can see that 18 charge lines have been created. So here you can check the calculations. So we can see the service number, lease unit number, customer number, and what amounts have been calculated for these specific clients for those services. You would probably get hundreds of such lines, so for easier checking if those calculations are correct, you can compare these amounts with some previous period. So for example, I will compare my April calculations with already confirmed calculations in March. So I will click Reload Data, and I get the result. So on these lines, I get the comparison result. So I can see that some lines had some charges in March, but I don't have any calculations in April. Most of the lines have the same number, so these are fine. So for these contracts, probably I can go and check. Most possible is that the contract has expired in March, so that's why I don't have any income in April. But for others, it's fine. So probably there wouldn't be many differences if you have fixed prices or prices per area, because they don't change. But this would allow you to catch some mistakes if there are some variables like client turnover data or meter readings. So this could help you to catch those mistakes and fix them before creation of the invoices. So once you're done with checking of calculations, you can post them to the system. So they are moved to the history, and based on that calculation history, we can quickly generate all the invoices for all of our tenants using another function. So I will just specify some parameters like invoice posting date and document date. And then I can also put some filters on those ledger entries that would be used for calculations. So we can also run invoicing for one of the properties for specific clients, specific services or so. So I will click OK, and system generated me 11 invoices. So from here, I can jump directly into sales invoices, and I can check some of them. So if I open the invoice, I get the invoice created per contract by default. So there is a possibility to rent several lease units in one contract. So those can be combined into one invoice for one contract, or you can split it by different units. And in the sales invoice, so this would be the standard Business Central part. So you can see that it's integrated without any feeling that you are switching between systems, because it's all in once. So here I get the sales invoice where my service charge is converted directly into revenue account and in my GL, in my chart of accounts. So we can configure different GL accounts for different services. So once you post the invoice, you would automatically see the result in your balance sheet. So you would get the revenue, you would see in account receivables, and if needed, you can configure so that taxes would be applied during the invoicing. So everything you would get automatically once you post those invoices. And as I mentioned, invoices can be sent out for the tenants. So there is a function for sending invoices by email. So again, you can do some filtering. You can send the invoice for separate buildings or specific clients. And the invoice would be sent to the client email address. And we can see how the invoice can look like. Again, the invoice template can be designed by your needs. You can upload your logo and, well, all the details that have been calculated by the system for the tenants, and they can be added here to the sales invoice. So that's how you can easily create and invoice your tenants. And then, as I mentioned, you instantly would see all the data in your balance sheets. Another part where it is good to have everything in one system is tracking the costs and expenses. So there is a possibility to assign a cost to the property or to the exact tenant. So for example, if you receive the purchase invoice from your vendor, in this case we have some cleaning costs, you can directly on the invoice line specify some parameters. What is the service used in lease contract or just property management system? Then you can specify the period of these costs, and then you can assign these costs to different properties. So later on, you can build some analysis. As Lonnie mentioned, you would probably have a property code as a dimension, so you can get a different P&L reports by different properties. So you could see the revenue that you have from that particular property, and since you have a possibility to assign costs to the property, you can analyze all of that data. Also, you can specify exact tenant, so you would specify the lease unit to one of the purchase invoice lines. So if you need to re-invoice the full amount to the tenant, so by specifying it here, system would automatically create that service ledger entry. And during invoice creation for the tenants that I showed you before, these costs would automatically be included in the sales invoice for the tenant. So you don't need to do it manually and re-invoice and create invoices for that. So I hope that this presentation helped you understand the benefits of having everything in one place. And as Lonnie mentioned and Laura showed, you can pull out the data from the system and build some really nice reports. So you can access them also from your mobile or web client and analyze data. So these reports can include both financial data, property management data. You can see expiring contracts, any other information that you need to analyze to make some decisions to make your business better. So I will pass my word back to Laura for presentation to be continued.
Thank you, Donatas. So now we have time for questions. So please type your questions into the question box in your control panel, and Maria will read it and we will try to answer it.
Yeah, as I can see, we have already few one. So the first question is about AppSource. Is your solution available on AppSource?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Laura, are you here?
Yeah, maybe I can answer.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so Donatas, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I thought you disconnected. So yes, our extension for Business Central is available on AppSource. So everybody who are using Business Central who has an account, they can find our solution, install it, and have a trial for 1 month. And then, yeah, if needed, we can extend the trial, or we can continue and help you with playing around with your own data. And our app is constantly developed, and we are releasing it. So we are adding some new features that we get from our clients that are missing in our app. And of course, we are fixing bugs if there are some.
So in addition to Donatas, as we talked today, cloud is getting more popular, and it allows businesses stay on the latest technologies, but our solution is also, as Lonnie mentioned, available as on-prem too, if that's more preferable to you. So you can choose whether to go with the cloud, SaaS, or on-prem.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And we have one more question. How is the tenant portal connected between BC and Software Real Estate? This one is for Donatas, I believe.
Sorry, what was the question?
How is the tenant portal connected between BC and Software Real Estate?
Okay, so yeah, we didn't have enough time to demonstrate the tenant portal today, but there is also direct connection to the Business Central. So on the tenant portal, there is a possibility to add the accounts for your clients, for your tenants, who can connect to the portal and see some data such as financial transactions, invoices for the tenants, or payments made. Also, they can check current contract details that they have, and they have a possibility to raise a request. So in the system, you would get that as a work order, so you can track those and manage those requests, change statuses, contact the client, and so it's also integrated, and there is a fresh data there. So it might save some time because tenants have like a self-service there, and they can check their invoices without bothering your accountants.
Actually, again, in addition, I just remember one case when some of our clients, they said that they even charge for the tenant portal for all the things that helps tenants to find information easier and saves time for them.
Okay.
Do we have more questions?
Yes, we have. Is there functions for technical management of the properties?
There is an area for maintenance tasks where you can build maintenance schedules that can be assigned to specific assets in a building. So you can define some parameters, how often those should be maintained. So also you can keep track of the history of those activities related to those assets. So for example, you can keep track of your air conditioning system or elevator maintenance, or add any activities related to that. So I would say yes.
Okay, we have a question about currencies. Do your software work with other currencies like Kenya shillings?
Yeah, so you can define any currency, and as Lonnie mentioned, you can connect it to some web services for currency exchange rates to be updated, let's say every morning, and you can create lease contracts in different currencies. So based on those currency rates, yeah, you can get correct amounts in your balance sheet, and yeah, you can issue invoices and you can receive invoices in any currency.
Okay, one more question. If we are using Dynamics Nav, what is the process to change to Business Central?
So there is an upgrade procedures. So probably you should contact us or cooperator in the CRGroup, so we could help you to move from NEV to new version of the Business Central.
Okay, and I see one long question, so I will try to read it. Hi, how we can start to use Nav on clouds? Now we use like installed version. Will be all functions on cloud like you presented, or it is needed additional works to have all reports you shown?
So what we have showed, all of those would be available on the cloud because we have presented you the standard solution. So upgrade procedure can be performed, and you could use everything you saw today. Question is for older versions if there are any custom modifications made for you, because for many of our clients that have had implementations in I don't know, earlier years on-premise versions, so those custom modifications, if there were any, is a bit harder to move, but it's also possible to keep them and using as a custom extension.
Okay, thank you, Donatas. Today we are covered all the questions. Laura, could you change the slide?
Oh, okay, sure. Just today we covered and showed just a little bit of BC and of software real estate. So if you want to learn more and see the solution in detail and or even try it, then please contact us at info@softwarerealestate.com, and we will arrange demos, talks, discussions, anything you want, and talk about it.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. Of course, thank you for Lonnie and Donatas. I hope you all enjoyed our webinar today, and see you next time. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.